I would say this. I would say don't try to be perfect. Be you. Be authentic. Try to make your lesson plans authentic and relevant. Try to realize, like, all right, what am I trying to get these kids to learn, and how is it going to be applicable to them? Build relationships. Relationships and student engagement are the foundation of the work that we do, right? And you got to set the tone as well. You got to set the tone as well. You got to have routines and consistency in your classroom, and you have to consistently build relationships with your students, find ways to connect with them. Don't pick and choose who to. I'm more like that. No, man. Every kid, every day, all year long. Find them, build a relationship. If they're unwilling to build a relationship, chip away at that ice until you get them at the end. Maybe it might be the last week of school, but you're going to get them. And you can even tell them that I'm coming at you every single day. At some point, I had a girl this year, never smiled. I said, listen, I'm going to get you to smile by the end of the year. And sure enough, it didn't take too long. She started to smile at me when she saw me, and she'd look away in the hallway, right? But I'm going to chip away at that. And then sometimes I'm going to chip away at that ice and build that relationship, because they can't help but want to build a relationship with you, because they walk into your classroom and you have something cool for them. It might not be all class. You might have 30 minutes of the boring notes and the this and the that, but they know 15 minutes of something cool is coming down the road. And they can't wait to come into that classroom. They can't wait to go to math, language arts. PE is finally fun because we're doing all this crazy stuff, right? Or art. I used to hate drawing, but now I love it because, right? So bring it in there every single day, and just let your passion and your love for them show.
Don't compare yourself to your neighbor, especially if it's a veteran, and maybe stay off Pinterest for a little bit. I mean, you got to it takes so much time. You don't come out of the gate as a veteran, amazing teacher. I've been in this for 23 years and I'm still not the teacher that I envisioned to be. I have lots of room to grow, and we all do. So give yourself grace.
My advice was to just, like, sort of know your limitations and know your strengths, because you can't know it all. You can't know it all on the first day of school, And so just go with your strengths, and you'll learn all those things that you need to along the way. But don't be too hard on yourself, and don't be too nervous around kids. Act like you know what you're doing. Be natural. Try to be as natural as possible. I know there's a lot of teachers that go into teaching and they just want to be very strict, and so the kids don't mess around. My advice would just be, like, relax, take it easy. You don't have to know it all on the first day. Just get into it. You'll learn as you go. There's a lot of people out there that can help you as you go. Try to get a lot of continuing education as you go too. Talk to other teachers that are in your field, and one of the best things I ever did was to travel around to other schools when I was a young teacher, to just watch other people teach. And I learned a lot from that. So if that opportunity exists, I'd say really try to watch teachers who have been at it for a while, see what they do.
Figure out what you're good at, especially on this triangle. Figure out where your strength is, play to your strength, and get a good team around you, because that's what gets you through. I have this talk with our teachers each year during our August PD, because at our school we use a house system, much like Harry Potter, only Greek letters. And I always take each of the teachers as a house off to the side and say, look, this is your house. When it all falls apart, these are the teachers you go to first. These are the ones that you get support from. They are here for you, and it was interesting. We did one a couple years ago where they played this whole yarn throwing game, and it created this huge web, which was the point. And then I had each of them snip a piece of the yarn off and tie it onto their name tag that they wear around. And I said, just every time things are going bad in the classroom, look down and see that piece of yarn, and remember, you're not alone. There's a web of us out here. Get that team behind you, because that's what gets you through. And that. It astounds me in my office. There's 3 of us that share an office, and one will come in one day, and from the newest teacher in our office to the one who's taught the longest, and we'll just be there, and one of us will say, I don't know how to teach this point. And we'll just set everything aside, and we'll brainstorm for 5 minutes. And usually we come out with a whole lesson we'd never thought of before, right? Because that's what happens when you're with a team. And it is part of our culture that we take very seriously, that we are a team. Nobody is doing this alone. And honestly, the teachers where I've kind of watched them and they won't engage. They sit in their own corner, they do their own thing, they go teach, they go back to, they don't last. They last the year and we never see them again, because it's just not, and we're good with that. Thank you for finishing the year. That's one of our things. Never leave in the middle of a year. But the other thing is, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Go find what is for you. But St. Jude's, we're team, and that's what we're all about.
So many things I would tell them. One is take care of yourself. You like I just said, you have got to get your sleep. I mean, I did the first year up till 1 a.m. I was also in my 20s. Now I'm like, there ain't no way that's happening now. But take care of yourself. Make sure that you're eating right. Make sure that you're sleeping. Make sure that you are managing stress outside of school. And remember that behaviors, whether it's your boss, your students, or parents, kind of like we talked about, there's more to it than you. Like, you are receiving the behavior, or you're receiving the attitude, but it's probably not you. Don't take it personally, especially with the kids, there's so much more to their behaviors than I asked them to pick up a pencil and they lost it on me. I wish I had learned that a little sooner, of give the kids some grace. They blew up when you asked them to pick up the pencil, but you know what? Something happened at home this morning. Something happened last class. Something else is going on. So let's give them a little grace and ask more questions rather than getting upset over the behavior. Let's find out what's causing that behavior.
Boy, there'd be a lot. I would say my first piece of advice is you were put in the classroom because someone has confidence in you. And there are going to be times where you're going to wonder if you're getting across to the kids. You're gonna wonder if you're up to it. And it's a great question, because I literally had a teacher in my room at the end of the day yesterday with kind of a similar question. She's a long-term sub. This is her first long-term sub job. I mean, she has a lot of life experience, and she's really, really interested in creating the lesson plans. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this person's so good. And she didn't have a good day. Any teacher out there knows some days it's just not a good day. It's not necessarily what happened, but a collection of what happened, and you're just like, wow, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing more harm than good? We internalize so much. So I think that we spoke for probably a half hour, and the thing I said that probably from the way she reacted that made the most difference is I said, sometimes I feel the same way now. Sometimes I have just have a bad feeling. But, and then I think, and I'm fortunate because I have all the years of experience, like in the long term, I think I've done a lot more good than harm. So I can look back on that, and I recognize with myself, I'm my biggest critic.
Yes.
So what I think, oh, this was such a horrible day. Well, for the might not have been that horrible for most of the kids in the classroom.
Right.
So yeah, so I guess that's more than just technique and things. So, but if in terms of like the first thing I'd tell them is that bit about self-confidence.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Don't be too hard on yourself, unnecessarily hard on yourself. It's actually a sign of a good teacher that they're reflecting back on their practices and thinking, what can I do better?
Right.
That's healthy. If a teacher like that comes to me and I see them being hard on themselves, it's like, that's how I know you're good and you're going to improve.
You're passionate.
Because you're passionate, you care about this job and you care about those kids. So there's and a lot of times, and when I work with teachers, I think an important part of my job is to reaffirm and reinstill that confidence.
Amazing. That's perfect.